Like I got done with my Q&A at the New York Comic Con, and then I was going to head down to Jersey to play some poker, and Jen was staying in the city to go out. And so I get back to the hotel room, and she's in the shower, and it's one of those glass doors, so she's all naked and wet and shit like that. And I was like, all right, man, I want to get laid. She looks good to me right now. And she does all the time, but I mean, you know, she's naked, so of course,
soapy.
Totally. Well, not soapy. It's not like I want to get soap in my cock or something like that, because that burns. But I was just definitely like, I want to try to fucking get one off before I get on the road and shit. Because there's still a part of me that's you know, like, you're married and whatnot, but and you love who you're with, but there's still always that male party that's like, I would like to fuck and then move on pretty quickly. You know, rather than like lay around, cuddle, and chit chat and bullshit. Sometimes you just want to fucking snap one out and then fucking like go on with your day in a real caveman kind of way. Not where you want to drag her by the hair, but just like, I don't want
to quest for fire.
I don't want to make love. Yeah, this ain't no quest for fire. This is, I just want to fucking shoot one and go. So she was kind of like getting ready for her shindig to go out and whatnot. So she had no. She's like, I don't have the time. You know, I kind of threw it out there, and I'm really not subtle about it and shit like that. I'm like, you want a bone? And that not really the way into a woman's panties, even if you're married to her. They do still like to be romanced a bit, but I knew the clock was against me on this one. And she was like, no, I gotta get ready. She's like, later on, you know, maybe tomorrow when we come back, pick me up, we'll totally do it, because I want to do it, but I got no time. And I was, you know, I'm so not the force the issue kind of guy, so I wasn't like, no, we're doing it. But I was just still kind of disappointed, and I was still kind of like ready to go because she looked good and shit. So she's getting ready, and I was, and I don't know, does this ever happen to you? Like, it's such an embarrassing, desperate sexual act where you're just like, all right, well, I'll just jerk off and you watch. Have you ever been that guy who's done that?
No, I haven't quite done that.
I find myself, I've done that many times in my life, where it's just like, I just want to.
You want it to be interactive
so badly, and yet you want to be interactive. You don't want to just kind of fly solo and shit and jerk off into a fucking sock. But you want someone to be involved. But
like, it's kind of like sexy.
It's kind of sexy a little bit.
I get to come
just
and
dirty
you're
enough, and you're there. But it is so stupid to be like, I'm going to jerk off and you watch, because. If the roles were reversed and I was her and she was me, and she was like, I'm going to jerk off and you watch, or even if it's the same thing like right now, like if she's her and I'm me, and she's like, I'm going to rub one out and I want you to watch, I'd be like, all right, I guess.
But leading to something?
Yeah, like, well, how's this? Exactly. I mean, there's always the whole thing, like, if you're rubbing one out, will I eventually get to fuck you?
She's like, no.
Yeah, and that would be the kind of thing. But for me, if I was like, you know, of course in the back of your mind, you're always like, well, I'm jerking off, she can get all turned on, then want to fuck. But not when she's getting ready. She's not thinking about that. So we're in the bathroom, and she's just like, and I throw that out there, and she goes, well, I don't really have the time. And I was like, well, what if you just took off your robe, because she's getting all prepared in the mirror and shit, wearing a robe. I was like, what if you just took off your robe and I jerked off here in the bathroom looking at you? And she's like, if you want, go ahead. And she's putting on her makeup. So fucking sad the more I think about it, but I was so desperate to fucking get it off. So she drops her robe, she's naked, I'm in the bathroom still trying to figure out whether I'm going to commit to this kind of thing, because there is still, we have been married for close to 8 years, but at the same time, you know, that could be the thing where she's just like, look, I always thought you were a loser, but he had good intentions, but come on, dude. You're going to fucking tug one out and crack one on my fucking leg while I'm getting ready in the bathroom mirror? That's just insane. Like, have a little self-respect. But I didn't have any, so I'd fucking...
You did it.
I totally did it, dude. I dropped down to my knees, and I'm behind her, and she's literally not really paying that much attention to me, putting on her makeup, doing her mascara and shit like that. And I get down on my knees, I drop my fucking drawers, I start tugging one out, just staring at her asshole and the back of her pussy. You know, that back view where...
Yeah.
And in order to do that, you got to spread the cheeks a little bit. So I'm kind of, but I only jerk off one hand, so it doesn't matter. But at the same time, like if I'm kind of spreading her cheeks, but pushing her a little bit, and she's like, I'm putting on my mascara, don't forget. I'm like, all right. So it was real clinical, not very sexy, but it was kind of weird and hot at the same time. And like a sick fucking degenerate mutt, I'm just on my knees, staring at her asshole and the kind of back of her pussy from behind, jerking off. Tug one out all the way to fruition, and I don't think I'd gotten laid for like 2 days or something, so I had a nice pent up fucking kind of load that, like, hit her leg and hit the rug and I fucking feel bad for anybody who uses that bathroom after us, that hotel room, because it went right on the rug too. And then afterwards, I just felt like such a scumbag. Like I was like, I can't believe I couldn't just wait, and
wait.
I succumbed to the filthy fucking urges, desperate, sickening urges of like, just let me jerk off while I'm here. It was kind of hot though, because it's kind of, it'd be like if you could jerk off in a strip club, because you're getting a look, but you're not allowed to touch, like she wasn't gonna fuck. And I was kind of hoping she'd get turned on enough to kind of be like, oh fuck it, let's do it, but she didn't. So I was left to my own devices. Had to take matters in hand, but it was so sad, really, in some weird way. And she was nice about it. She didn't make me feel sad about it. She was like, that was kind of sexy. But I think she might have just been saying that so I didn't take that drive down to Jersey going like, what happened to me? Like, I've really let myself go in every way. I have no self-respect whatsoever. I can't stop fucking eating, and I've fallen to jerking off on my wife's fucking calf. It's weird, kind of the depths you'll plumb human sexuality, like just to fucking get one off and whatnot.
When it gets in your head and you got to get it out.
Yeah, and granted, it's kind of tame in comparison to how some fucking filthy animals conduct themselves and whatnot.
Yeah.
Like there are people, serial killers, like some of them kill because it pleases some kind of sexual urge, and it's not even predicated on a sexual act, but for some reason they can't get off unless there's death involved. So I'm not there yet.
No.
But, it's still kind of like one of those things where I'm like, my father's dead, and if he is in the form of a spirit, and spirits could walk around and fucking see.
And looking down.
Yeah, or being in the room. If once you die, you become part of the infinite in time and space, and you could be anywhere at any moment, at any given time. My old man could have been in the hotel room just being like, what a loser my son is. Jesus, like, aim a little higher. At least have her give you a handy. What are you doing on your knees, jerking off behind her, looking at her fucking asshole? It was kind of weird, but it's a weird spectrum, human sexuality. Yeah. I remember this broad, Michelle, that I used to go with. Not date, but we'd fuck a lot. Fuck buddy of sorts. And one time she was just like, I've always wanted to smoke while someone ate me out. And I was like, right on. I'm all for that. So I was eating her out, and she was just sitting there. She put an ashtray on the top of my head and smoked while I was eating her out. And I remember thinking in the middle of it, like, oh my God, this is... How desperate am I to get laid that I'm willing to fucking sit through this?
Holder.
Totally, and she went through like 2-3 cigarettes, which means she wasn't concentrating on what was done. And I'm not good at many things, but I know how to fucking head at that clitoris and get the job done. But she was kind of preoccupied with her smoking. But when she finally busted a nut, I was like, well, and she was like, it was kind of good because all my muscles were super relaxed and they all tightened up and then really relaxed. But I remember thinking, like, I can't believe, like, I let that be done to me just to get a piece of pussy back in the day. What is the saddest, desperate sexual thing that you've ever done?
I don't really have any of those good stories.
I can't tell you how many times I've resorted to, like, just watch me jerk off, which is just so humiliating. Because they're just looking at you going, like, looking at me. I don't know about you. You could probably get away with it, and they'd be like, that's kind of hot. Me, I get away with it, and they're like, every time he pulls down on the cock, his fist is hitting his body, sending a reverberation of flab through his entire fucking form. There's nothing sexy about this whatsoever. His dick's buried in fucking crotch fat. And look at him, ew, and he's coming on himself. What a fucking jerk. But I've been there, man. It's so sad. I don't know why I can't just like be like, you know what, I'll wait till fucking I'm alone and just take care of business and shit like that. But instead, I'm like, just be involved somehow. Just fucking...
Just be around.
Just look at it. That kind of thing.
Just poke it.
You think Martin Scorsese's ever done something like that?
I'm going to say yeah.
You think so?
That he's jerked off like while there's a girl in the room?
Yeah, watching? But like Ben's so desperate. Like you imagine Martin Scorsese could probably, get laid. Well, he's married, I think, now.
So I think some people might do it out of like, desire as opposed to like desperation. Yeah. Like but maybe he was just like, I got a hankering to tug one out while you look at it. Like I got to read the last 10 pages of the script, like stand there and I'm going to jerk off and read. And
a weird kink like that where he's like, here, this is the last act of Casino. They just the rewrite came in from Nick Pileggi. Read this while I fucking tug one off on your back. And I don't think the Oscar winners are guilty of that.